for DNR. When I was in the penitentiary, they hire inmates to thin Capitol Forest. And
Wow.
I'd be out there all day with my hiking boots. Man, I saw a porcupine one time. It was as big as a dog. I did not know porcupines grew that big.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
We used to fight fires. The inmates are mop-up crews for the firefighters out here. They have to go out there. And the best thing about fighting a fire when you're in prison is the kitchen, the fire kitchen.
Right.
They got every kind of food you can think of. Man, they got garbage cans full of Snapple. They got lobster. They got steak.
Lobster?
I'm telling you, man. Like
Lobster.
They treat those firefighters out there. They give them the best because those guys are risking their life and limb.
Damn,
And
lobster.
so those fire kitchens are live homes, and they let the inmates partake. And I'm like,
What?
Super cool.
They let
super
the
cool.
inmates
One time, we were going to fight a fire in OMAC, and this little girl ran up to our bus. She didn't know it was a prison bus. She just thought it was all firefighters, which we were. We were firefighter inmates. And she handed a note. She handed a note through the window, and a couple of the inmates started fighting over this note. And so the guard grabbed the note and read it out loud, and it said, "Thank you for fighting the big fire," and it had a picture that she had drawn. And these two hardcore inmates, you know what I'm saying? Who knows what, murder, rape, whatever. And they're fighting for this little girl's picture that she had handed through the window, that she was handing out to firefighters as they went by.
Can't trust little girls, man. Inciting riots and shit.
Yeah, the little girls.
So,
yeah.
so I've been to. I worked on radio communications and stuff like that for penitentiaries and police, law enforcement, all that sorts of stuff. And I've only been to one penitentiary, and it was a women's penitentiary, and they also did fire and stuff like that. But I tell you, if you ever want to feel like a rock star, find a way to be a visitor in general population in a minimum security women's institution. I tell you what, man. So we're walking through general population, and if anything happens, these girls are going to get more time, so they're not trying to do anything stupid. But I walk through it, and man, they are screaming and they're hollering, and I got my hard hat on and all my climbing gear to climb up the antenna tower, and they're just screaming the YMCA song, and then I'm seeing all these these flat meth titties, and dude, man, I felt so good about it afterwards, man.
Flat meth titties.
Your ego just raised 2 scores.
I know, I was like, yes. If
I
that's
have
what Mick Jagger feels like, that's no wonder he's still alive.
Yeah, you were a rock star.
Yeah, I was, man.
I have a similar story, but from the other side. I was in the R units, which is in Shelton, receiving units, and I was taking a dump because on the toilet. And at that point in time, the state officials decided to walk by with a whole group of people down the tier because they're giving a tour to the politicians and whatnot. And I'm there, and they come walk by me, and I got my pants around my ankle. I'm taking a shit. I'm like, ugh. I got my poop face, and they're walking by me, people in suits and women in dresses and stuff. And what am I going to do? Am I going to stand up and wipe in front of them? So no, I just sit there and do my thing.
Yeah. And wait for them to pass by.
It's not quite on the same level.
Just wait for them to pass by.
Were you hooting and hollering? I mean,
and no, but they were hooting and hollering at me. They're like, "You go, push it out."
You get it, inmate. Go.
You do your thing. That's another thing too. Is I never keistered anything either. I knew cats that were transferring to other prisons. They would take a glove and they would shove it full of tobacco too. It was like a sausage. The fingers, they would cut the fingers off the glove, shove it full of tobacco, and they would shove that shit in their ass 5 or 6 of them. I never did that, dude. I'll just not smoke. I just won't smoke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can quit smoking cigarettes for a couple of months.
Right.
I don't need to have that shit in my ass.
Right.
I really don't. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's going in my ass. That was a high priority for me when I got locked up. Nothing is going up my ass.
And you made it 4 years.
And I made it 4 years.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Well, what I did was I just started lifting weights super early. As soon as I got there, push-ups, weights, trying to get as big as I can because I want the whole population to know that nothing's going in my ass.
Right. Don't you kind of get ostracized and attacked in the beginning? People fuck with you in the beginning when you first get there?
Well, I had to find my place.
Yeah.
Because I'm a white Mexican, I didn't really fit in with Mexicans, and I don't speak Spanish because my dad dipped me out on me, so I don't really know Spanish that well to this day. And I think it's like a mental block because I've tried to study it and I just can't remember the words. Anyways, and so I couldn't kick it with the Mexican cats, and I'm not black, so I couldn't kick it with the black cats, even though I knew a lot of them cats from the streets. You know what I'm saying? Not all the black cats trusted me. And so really I kicked it with the Samoans and the Native Americans and the Asians. And I even became part of the Native American Sacred Hoop group, which is the smallest minority group up in there is the native cast. And because I'm half Mexicans are technically natives. They accepted me, although not all of them were accepting of me. Some of them would say things like, "There's too many Kevin Costners up in here." But I proved myself because I was young. But it was cool being in the native group because we got to do sweat lodge every weekend. We got like 2 powwows a year. Like seriously,
Oh, I thought you were joking.
I went to sweat lodge every weekend almost the whole time I was locked up. That was good.
Where the hell they go for a sweat lodge?
They have their own grounds. They have the natives in every prison have a sweat lodge.
Yeah.
They have their own grounds. And we go out there, we start a fire, we eat rocks up, we put blankets over the sweat thing. I forget what it's called. I think it's called a nipi. Put the blankets over the nipi, and then we bring the hot rocks in with antlers. You know what I'm saying? We do the whole 9 yards every weekend.
It's because we feel bad about what happened to the natives after
Well,
we
no,
came
I
here.
feel bad. I wasn't alive.
No, everybody
Right?
gets their religious needs taken care of. The Christians get church, the Muslims get their thing. Everybody gets
I
their
need to
thing.
start my own
And
religion
so
in case
we
I get locked up.
We get sweat lodge.
To a certain degree, right? I mean, you don't get all the religious freedoms.
We're kind of starting our own cult right now.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, if we get locked up, you know, we should have a list of things in our own religion that help us out a little bit. You know.
We should have a podcast
Right.
playing in the prisons.
No, I mean like 3 conjugal visits a day, but
No, like the religious liberty in prison is kind of off the hook. Like I used to have a medicine bag around my neck,
Yeah.
and I wore it every day. And one day I went to a visit, and I was coming back from the visit, and the guard reached to grab it, right, to look inside of it, and I grabbed his arm. Like I grabbed the guard's arm, and I was like, "No, you can't look into that." You know what I'm saying? Seriously.
whoa.
And he should have like grabbed me
Beat
by
you.
my arm and put me on the ground, blah blah blah. Like, but he didn't because of my religious liberty. And so he called his sergeant. And the sergeant says, "Yeah, you can't touch his medicine."
Oh, that's why you didn't keister everything. It was in your medicine bag.
Yeah, so was there something in there? Or?
I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, right.
You're already innocent.
And that's why you didn't keister it. You knew your way around it. You knew.
I'm not gonna say anything. Nothing but medicines and bones in the medicine.
That's right. Yeah.
Sacred medicine.
That's right. It's sacred.
Yeah, some consider those things medicines.
Nah, but you know, I just programmed in the penitentiary, man. I do my job every day. I lifted weights. I would get a toothpick joint every now and then, and I'd have my sex offender cellie wash the deck out for me. You know what I'm saying? The thing about going to the penitentiary is it's hard time for sex offenders. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you get a new cellie, the unspoken rule is to put your paperwork, your charge, on the table. You know what I'm saying? The paperwork with all your beefs on it, and leave it there for 3 days. So your cellie has plenty of time to pick it up and read it and know exactly what you're in for. And then he, in turn, is supposed to leave his paperwork on the table for 3 days. And if he don't leave his paperwork, he's a sex offender.
Right.
And so, now you could either ask for a new cellie, which doesn't really work out, or you can just tell him, like, dude, I know you're in here for a sex beef. You're gonna do whatever I tell you to do. And so that motherfucker, he kept my cell clean. He watched for the guards when I would smoke weed. He let me watch whatever I wanted on TV. Like, sex offender wasn't too bad of a cellie, to tell you the truth.
Just because you got to do whatever you wanted?
Just because I got to do whatever I wanted, yeah.
So you wouldn't share all that stuff with everybody else and have him have issues, right? I mean, how did that work? Like, if everybody found out that somebody was a sex offender, then what would happen? I mean, what were the repercussions?
Of him?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
People pretty much know. I mean, a lot of them old dudes in there, either they're old-time gangsters or they're sex offenders.
Right.
The old white guys. You know what I'm saying? And I knew some old-time guys. I knew guys that were in from the 70s for bank robbery. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of those old white dudes, they're in there for sex offenses. There's a lot of fucking sex offenders in penitentiary, dude. A grip. It's a big problem.
Yeah, that's freaky though, right? To think that many people that are in prison are sex offenders.
I heard a statistic when I was at Airway Heights. There's 3,000 inmates. 700 of them were sex offenders.
Damn.
Really?
Yeah.
That's almost a quarter.
Yeah. Dude, there's a grip. There's a grip, and where do you think they're getting out? They're getting out to the streets. They're moving in next door.
Right. No, if you ever look online, have you ever looked online at the sex offender thing? With the dots all over it? There's nowhere you're safe. They're everywhere.
You gotta keep your kids close, man.
Yeah.
I got 4 girls. Only 3, and one's not out.
I have a 4th.
And I keep my kids close, dude. I don't even let them spend the night at people's houses.
Nope.
I don't, because I don't know if this lady's boyfriend or husband has issues, you know what I'm saying? I keep my kids close, and it's not like when I was a kid, and I feel bad for that. Like, I would ride my bike all over town, from one side of town to the other side of town all day. During the summertime, I would be gone all day. I would never let my kid do that, never.
Right, so are we taking away from their lives, though? You know what I'm saying? Because I think about that, too, like, with my sons, you know, because even I'm afraid of that, because it happens with men, boys and girls. Shouldn't... how much am I going to limit my son's freedom? Like, he's got to learn how to be an adult and how to figure out stuff on his own. I mean, I feel like it's a feeling thing.
Well,
like, when your kid is ready for it or not.
And I know little boys get molested, and that's something to be scared of. But
right.
I got girls, and so I'm a little bit more protective, you know what I'm saying, with my daughters.
Of course. Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my girls are protective of me. My daughters are afraid that I'm going to grow old alone. That's a relevant fear for them. Like my daughter that's a Marine, she doesn't want me to break up with my current girlfriend because she's afraid I'm going to grow old alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you already were saying that you don't
I'm
believe in marriage.
I'm an asshole, you know what I'm saying? So not a whole lot of people can deal with it.
And you're already getting white hair.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm not ashamed. Like, I'm a mess, dude.
Oh my God, guys.
You go back out there, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
My old lady pointed out like the white hairs on my sideburns coming in.
That's why I'm pushing for legal
dude. Right before I showed up here.
Yeah, you start to look older, but your mind is a lot wiser, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. You're the youngest dude here, though.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Do you feel not as wise as the rest of us?
Right.
No, I don't feel that way. But when I think back, but when I think, shut up, you're 2 years older than me over here. When I think back, the way I thought when I was 18, 10 years ago, it's like I was a crazy person, right?
Yeah.
Completely different.
Oh yeah, you change as you grow older. That's no lie, dude. I just don't have the energy to do the shit I used to do. I ain't got the energy to deal with females. Mostly, it's a lot of work to juggle women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I just got out of the penitentiary, I ain't never had so much women throw themselves at me as then. They could smell it. He ain't had pussy in him. I could smell it when he walks in the bar. I'm not joking, dude. I had a lot of women come at me when I was fresh out the pen, and it probably had something to do with the fact that I lifted weights for 4 years straight. You know what I'm saying? But I never had that many opportunities. So when I was a single dad, like I had a lot of booty call chicks because I didn't want to bring women around my kids. And so if they were down with me calling them at midnight and them coming over for 2 hours, then we could do that.
Right.
And I had a lot of takers. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
As I got older and more overweight, that kind of tapered off.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was more about them being able to smell it on you and you were just in shape. Because, I mean, I go to the bar and most people there look like me or Chris or you. And if you see somebody yoked, I mean, for women, you're...
Are you saying I'm fat? See what I'm saying? Why is there video? Really? Why is there video?
Get out of here. All I can tell is you haven't been working out every day. So,
Bro.
I'm doing Kegel exercise.
These are like working muscles here, all right?
Yeah, working, not working out.
Yeah.
So, I got to bring my oil.
So, if someone comes into the bar and they're yoked up, built up, women are going to be attracted to that. So that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if they could smell the prison on you is what I'm saying.
Personality, though.
Personality. We all know personality's overrated. Come on.
Hey, stop, dude.
So I've been trying to Google the percentage of people who die alone, and the search-related stuff is awful. One of the searches is, I'm going to die alone, aren't I? How many people die alone at home? Dying alone and undiscovered? How many people die unloved?
Oh my God.
I don't know how you get a statistic for that.
That's
fucked
up.
I got a penitentiary joke. This one killed when I was locked up. Okay, it killed. When you're in the pen, you get packages from people, right? Your wife, your mom, or whatever send you packages. So This inmate calls his wife at home, and his daughter answers the phone, and he says, "Baby, put your mama on the phone." And she says, "I can't. She's in the bedroom." And the inmate says, "No, go ahead, go get her. It's just okay. Put her on the phone." And she says,